Right, here he is, the saint, with his Beretta tucked under his arm, ready for anybody to attack him. And he's just got back from Eastbourne, where he's taken on a hacker. Hack, hack, hack. How did the fight go, V?
Oh, it went very well. I managed to secure a gentleman's email address. I'll just explain what happened. It was an emergency because there was loads of emails being sent out to people in his address book, and he just couldn't understand how it was happening. And it was a request for people to purchase an Amazon voucher and then send the Amazon voucher code to a different account. Um, so prevented him his I had to help secure his email address and advise him and guided him on what had happened, how it could have happened, and how to stay safe now moving forwards.
All right, and you managed to sort him out, did you?
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, it's usually there is a level of education that's usually involved in it, which means you have to learn about new things and new ways of clearing um, information in the browser and the computer applications, how to enable two-factor authentication. But he's in a good place now for sure.
Right. Now, let me ask you about some of those things because um, two factor authentication. I know a number of people have said to me, I don't bother with that. And I must say that by the time you actually get there, I was thinking this morning, having had a hassle, a fight with iCloud, which I'll tell you about in a minute, is I was ready to have a heart attack. And what I wanted to know is if I have a heart attack, can I sue iCloud for my expenses?
Well, I'm not sure if that's possible. You would have to have, I guess, because you'd have to build a case, I guess, and see if anyone else has tried to sue Apple iCloud for those for having a heart attack and expenses incurred due to whatever the challenges with iCloud. But we can get into that um, uh, later
Yeah.
in a one-to-one session.
Let me tell you what crosses my mind is that we, as relatively little people, are forced to deal with huge entities which do seem to be beyond the rule of law. Now, I've spent a lifetime touring various countries that have just come out from authoritarian rule or some other means of a single oligarchy to explain what rule of law is and how important it is to democracy. So, why are we so complacent about allowing these people to not observe rule of law?
I've been trying to follow what you said, and I'm not clued up on rule of law myself, so I'm not knowledgeable enough to answer. I'm quite ignorant in relation to knowledge of
Well,
law.
rule of law really is only that what you do is you live according to the rules of the country, whether
Right.
you agree with them or not. It's basically that's the way it's ruled. If you want to change it, you change it from within through due process and so on. But what you don't do is you don't step outside and pull a gun or blow up a train or sabotage an aircraft or whatever. Rule of law is what it says, living by the rule of the laws of the land.
Got it. Understood. So, and what about, just so I'm clear on it, what about the rules of law? What is the question you've got about rules of law?
The fact that it seems that people who run iCloud, Amazon,
Right.
and so on, these huge giants of the internet, are able to do their own thing and not live within rule of law.
Because they don't have it's based on their location. It's like, people, to avoid paying tax, they say they're operating from a particular country which might have £0. Well, it will be like not £0. It'll be like very low tax. Like a lot of people like to have the business registered and set up and the bank in Switzerland. Why? To avoid tax. Why? Because that's the law of the land. So whenever they're operating outside of the law of land and providing a service somewhere, they're invoicing from there, from Switzerland, to avoid the tax. Similarly, these companies are operating outside of the UK, providing a service to people in the UK and the planet. And the law is, I have to check the laws in relation to internet, or a company based in America, for example, or another country. What is the law of that land? Because that's what they would want us to fight them based on the laws of their country, because they're providing a service in their country to people anywhere in the world. So
Right.
it's slightly different. They're not the only people that can take them to court is if they've breached something in relation to the UK laws. Then
So we probably need what is commonly known as a class action. In other words, hundreds of us all doing the same thing and getting the same solicitor, and letting him be the single voice for our complaints.
Yeah. So there's other ways. There's other ways around it. For example, if people didn't want to use those services and they wanted to use another provider in another country, or this country, then people can still create a business or some kind of cloud storage which is based in this country, which is then they abide by the laws of this country.
Yes. But it's a drop in the bucket, isn't it? I mean, these companies really are huge. When you see this, not very often, but when the odd app or post or whatever reaches 200 million hits, and some people don't know about it, it just gives you some idea of the size and dimensions of these people.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to have a conversation about. Do we use them or do we not use them?
Yeah.
Other countries block apps from another country, because they want to keep everything within their country. So again, that's down to the rulers of the country. If the rulers of the country want it their way, then it's their way.
Right, I shall phone our new Prime Minister and tell him that he's out of office next week if he doesn't do something about it. Okay, your program, Saint. V, what have you got to talk about today?
Yeah, it's about staying safe and protecting your email address.
Right.
And we started talking about it earlier when you talked about two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication. So I'd like to educate people about it and clear any questions or doubts. And maybe you could ask any questions you may have about two-factor authentication. I'll start with that.
Right. Well, I mean, I tend to shy away from two-factor authentication, primarily because I'm not absolutely sure whether somebody who hacked my internet or whatever we simply not have much to walk away with. In fact, I have had in the past the odd email from somebody who says, "Hey, guess what? You're a lovely chap. And how do we know? Because we just read what we've hacked on your site, and now we're going to tell you how much you must pay if you don't want us to give out sensitive information." So I looked at the sensitive information and thought, God, I'd love people to know that. It must be marvelous to walk around just having got out of the bath nude and having 1 million people follow you. It's just one more step, and there are sort of things on the internet that are there because somebody has said they should be there. I'm never sure that two-factor authentication actually helps. You tell me, does it?
Definitely, it just adds an extra layer of protection. Let's say. So it's like having a body armor. If you're going to war, you got body armor, and then that soldier may hold a shield, and the shield will take the brunt. For example, um, if an arrow gets shot at that soldier, and he or she holds up the shield will deflect it and take that hit, protecting the body and the from being pierced.
Yes.
Similarly, what the two-step factor authentication does, it adds an extra layer of protection, and a notification to say, "Hey, is this you trying to log in?" And then you can just say yes or no.
Yeah.
And usually these apps, like for example, Microsoft Authenticator app, it will pop up. It will say, "Is this you? Yes or no?" And then that extra layer of protection is way better than just typing in the password, because if somebody does get access to your email address or has got your password, they can log in and you won't even know they've logged in. So
Yeah.
that's where it helps. Is it helps you seeing and being notified, and be sure that when you log in, that's you. And if somebody else logs in as you, somehow if they've got your password, because maybe the password got hacked, or got accessed, at least you can see, oh, somebody's trying to log in to my email address and it's not me. So I'm going to now go in and check look at the sign in activity, which you can do if you've got a Hotmail or Outlook account. You can go to Microsoft sign in page and see where is it, where is the login, which country. Aha, that's not me. I'm not, that's someone else. And then you can start doing things like changing your password, and if and sign out of all locations if you were signed in somewhere where you felt, oh no, I don't want to be signed in on that location or that device. So that's the benefit of two-factor authentication. It's just another layer, it's a shield to prevent people from unauthorized access to your email account. So yeah, it's very beneficial, and it's almost I wouldn't say impossible, but it's very, very difficult to get past. If not, I haven't even heard of someone that's been able to get bypass two-factor authentication.
Well, that's encouraging, I suppose. That one of these big internet companies going to learn the principle of KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. This morning, you very kindly left a little dot, post, or whatever you've got to call it, icon, so that I could get into my iCloud photos. So I tapped on it, and it came up and said, uh, give me your email and give me your password. So I gave them the email and the password that I used last, and it came back and said, no, no, neither of these are any good. So we had to dance around the trees, and eventually I got an email that they liked, but they didn't like the password. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get a password. When we eventually got over that, I then went in, and it took me to where I had to fill in a thing that identify these letters in the thing opposite, which is never easy because what they do is they entangle them. So the L and the M look as if they're one or double or something. So you have to do it two or three times. Then that takes you to somewhere else, and you do something else. And now eventually, after two code words and several tries, I get into my iCloud photo thing, and I tap on photos, and it takes me to something else. There are no photos there. I've got to go and find those, and couldn't go on that search because I was meeting you. I'm going to have to try that this afternoon. That was 15 minutes ago. And I'm in the news business, which they don't seem to understand is immediate. If a plane crashes now, I need a picture of the plane, at least a facsimile of the sort of plane that it was, if not the plane itself. And I don't want that 15 minutes later and say, oh, guess what? I could have told you about this plane crash 15 minutes ago, breaking news. But I couldn't because I couldn't get the pictures out of my iCloud account. Now, this shows a complete and utter lack of understanding of the sort of people that are using this service. And I mean, let me look for some sort of commentary so I can let whoever is in charge know. Oh, no, we won't have that. We don't want to hear the bad things. Well, there are lots of bad things about these things. And if they don't know, how are they going to put it right? And if they're not prepared to put things right, what the hell are they doing in business in the first place? Because that is very, very poor marketing and very poor PR. And I charge a small fortune for giving out PR advice, and I would love to be able to say to them, come to me and I'll tell you what to do from a communications point of view with your customer. But I can't tell them anything about the system because I don't understand it.
Yeah, I understand your frustration, and Apple are very well known for uh, keeping the data that's kept in iCloud very secure and safe. And so, what I'll do is I'll just pick out one thing that you talked about, which is what's a common problem for a lot of people I'm noticing um, is proving that you're a human, and you have to proving that you're a human. And like you said, the letters which are next to each other, and then they look like one
Yeah.
letter, the two, and you're like, how do I? And then you have to have multiple goes. Well, yeah, that for that one, visually, it's really difficult. There is one little option just below that. It says can't see the image. Want to try audio. So audio caption. So the audio caption is another option where the computer will play a sound which will be slightly muffled, and it will have numbers, and it will say enter these numbers in, and it will say 22, and then another audio message which is a different muffled sound will say 34, and then another muffled audio background message with the words with the numbers 74. And as you type those numbers in, that'll be probably easier to hear. I often do that because I also try to do the letters which are jumbled. They don't work. And one of so that's one trick. And then if there's the one which shows like two images and it's showing a shadow, and you have to point, you have to make the shadow look like the image. That's one of the
Oh, yes,
that's a
yes,
really
yes,
difficult one.
yes, it
Um,
is.
and again, it says if you're having trouble with this, try the audio way of hearing the sound of these numbers which you just type in. I find that that's usually better than the visual one where you have to point the animal
Yes.
in the right direction
Oh,
or the
that's a good
shadow.
piece of advice. I've never noticed that.
Yeah,
Next time I hit it, I shall look for that. Yes.
yeah, because that'll resolve you having to type in the characters multiple times. You just listen to that audio message and you
Yes.
type those numbers in.
But
Um,
I often wonder the how many customers are lost because is a third party. I mean, let's suppose that you're buying something from I don't know a bookseller, and all this stuff comes up before you can get to his inner workings and a look at his books. I've often thought when I give in and walk away, they've lost a customer. Now, is that their objective to try and lose customers for people?
no, so because things are becoming more and more computer controlled, meaning that now there's AI or some robot, or is to avoid the hackers mainly, is to prevent your account from being safe and um, prevent computers from basically doing things that you don't want it to do.
Right.
That's why it's mainly to prevent uh, um, yeah, is to prove that you're a human, because they know if you're a human, you're doing something that you want to do. Whereas if it was a computer trying to do something, or some kind of tech trying to purchase or access something, it gets blocked by that, um, let's call it shield. So it's kind of like the two-factor authentication. It's another way of checking. Is it really you? Are you a human? Are you actually trying to do this, or are you a robot or some bug or some hacking app which is trying to get into this um, site or purchase this thing or make this change? So it's just to make sure we're humans, but um, there are various platforms which don't utilize that technology and don't have this thing where to prove you're a human. Um, but there are reasons why these platforms do have it, because they'll receive complaints from the people who are providing the service on their site and say people try to buy this and they used a fake credit card. Can you? How did it happen? And then when they go down to it, they see, oh, it was a some kind of app or some malware which was trying to access the site to purchase this thing with stolen
Right.
data. Yeah, so it's to protect people that sell things and provide us product and service. Um, it's more for their protection, not necessarily our protection. We get annoyed when we see this. Prove you're a human.
Right, V. You've, as usual, given very full and careful answers to the questions that I had, but we've taken 22 minutes doing that. So the rest of the time, it's your show. Please tell us what you wanted to talk about this morning, and give us the information that you wanted to give.
Absolutely. So I would say that not many people get their accounts hacked, but I've been noticing people's email addresses getting hacked. And what these clever attackers are doing, and I don't know if it's a person or if it's automated or a combination. What I've been noticing is these emails that come from an email address, from your personal email address, whether it's Google or Yahoo or Hotmail, and or some other provider, is going to your contacts. Now, if you've received an email from a person that's in your contact address book that does email you, and it looks like it's them typing the message. These are very clever, sneaky ways of a hacker utilizing and staying under the radar, waiting for the right time, and then sending emails to people that you've been speaking to, having conversations with, saying, "Oh, hi, have you so, could probably talk about, oh, this is what's happening in the world, and have you tried this, and do you know about this?" And it looks like it's a real, genuine email. It's from the person. It's very difficult to know if unless you speak to that person and ask them, "Have you sent me this email?" And I had a couple of people have the same hacker method of um, their email address was they got an email from a person that they know was going to hospital or was in doing something and was unable to access their and was requesting for an Amazon voucher to be purchased, and then once that was purchased, it was says, "Oh, I just need to get this gift card. I can't buy it. I'm trying to get a gift for someone. Would you be able to do it? And I'll transfer the money into your account later." That person B, thinks, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll help you out," and it's just a £50 Amazon voucher. And then, but if that's done to um, multiple people, I mean, you
Yeah,
just times up that £50 voucher or £100 voucher, times that by uh, a high amount of contacts, and if everyone's done it and
yeah.
purchased the voucher, and then
Automatic, can't
for
you?
and then forwarded that voucher onto this other email address which the hacker says to send it to. That's what I've been noticing. So I would say to people, keep an eye on your emails and the sent items box. So if you look at sent items, have a look. Is there emails going out that you didn't send? So it's good to check that from time to time, just like you would check your junk emails from time to time.
Yeah.
So stay vigilant. That's my main thing, is stay vigilant and enable two-factor authentication and change your password for your email account regularly. Um, and you can always go into your sign in activity page from your email provider, and then you can look at where it's been where the sign-ins have been happening. Just to you should It's good to know that that is even possible, because a lot of people don't know that you can actually go to the sign-ins page to look at your login activity, to then see if there's been any unsuccessful attempts at logging into your account. That's a good thing to look at, because if you've noticed there's been unsuccessful attempts, that means someone's been trying to hack you. There are providers which now you can put your email address and they can check if your email address has been found in a threat report as being a suspected email address that has been um, used by attackers. So there's various tools that people can use, but the main thing is to look at the other email folders and also check any forwarding rules in your email account to make sure there's no emails automatically being forwarded to another email address, which is another way how they get your access to your account, and then they forward all the emails, and you don't realize that the conversations you're having are not private because they're all being forwarded to a different email address. And these attack hackers are now collating that, identifying who the key target people are, who you're having conversation with. They will then go send them an email, which will look like coming from you, but actually they've spoofed, like disguised your email address and makes it look like it's coming from your email address, but actually it's come from a different email address. And then they start making these requests, and they have intimate knowledge because they've been monitoring your conversation on email with the people. So my advice is to people to make sure there's no rules in your on your mail account. Make sure there's no forward of emails going out of email account. Make sure there's no aliases, which is like an additional email address associated with your email account. And yeah, if people want to know a bit more and going deeper and to check, do a thorough check and be shown how to check it themselves. And then I can set up a session and we can record it on the on anyone's device, so you can see how to do it yourself in the future, and you can be confident that you've taken the necessary steps to make sure you don't get hacked. It's a common hack that's happening. I've noticed it more and more recently. So yeah, I'm just making sure everyone's got the two-factor authentication set up and know how to check all these options in their email account. So
Excellent.
that's what I would like to finish with.
That's what I want, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I would like to finish with. Just stay
Yeah.
safe.
Well, no, we're going to finish with something else because I think it's tomorrow or the day after. I'm not sure which. It's an exciting day because you're rolling out a new initiative. Tell us about that.
So yes, absolutely. Thank you. So the monthly brunch session is a drop-in session. People have a 15-minute slot with myself, ask any question about how to use their device, whatever device that is, and they can get assistance, and they can have some a light snack, sort of some finger food, some sandwiches, and some other nibbles, and have a cup of tea or coffee or a herbal drink or a cold drink, and just sit and chat with others who are experiencing the same challenge or a similar challenge. And people can come in from 10:30 till 12, have a 15-minute session, get some help, and if they feel that okay, now they feel they want more of a session because there's more of a complex challenge they want to be aware of and learn about and become confident about, then they can book a session privately after. So this is a new initiative at Cleave Down once a month. the last Wednesday of the month, and it starts tomorrow, Wednesday brunch time at Clevedown.
Right. Now, you're rolling that out tomorrow, but if people see it or talk about it or get wind of it, they can come to you and they can say, will you please organize one of these brunches at our complex or for our group or whatever. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So this is the first one at Clevedown, and then it'll be a chance to see if this is what people want, if this is how they want to get help, and then I can roll it out and bring, like everything, awareness, creating awareness is key. So once it's happened and I've captured the feedback and then just make it better for next time, make it more appealing, make it more fun, whatever it is that people need, more informative or more confidential. Maybe people would prefer a separate room to talk about whatever it is they want to talk about. But this is more of an informal gathering, and then people can always organize a private one-to-one session they would
Right.
like to explore further.
Now, I know that this is beginning to work for you because you are now quite well known at Clevedown, and you've already had people come to you and say, "I've got this problem. Could you drop by, or can you tell me how to solve it?" and so on and so forth. So this sort of networking, if that's what we call it, customer compliance or whatever phrase you want, seems to be working. And at the same time, somebody gets a lobster tail and a nice little bit of caviar. Uh, but what time does that start tomorrow?
So it's 10:30 in the morning, and
Right,
then it will finish about 12ish,
right.
and it just gives
And
people,
it is breakfast, lunch, which is how the word brunch came to be used. It's
yeah,
between breakfast time and the time that you normally go for lunch. So it is a brunch, and whatever delights he's got in terms of finger food, you get to share. But the important thing is that V offers the first visit or the first 15 minutes free. And you won't find that with many computer services. They all tend to say, I want to charge you 15 or 20 pounds just for coming out and knocking on your door, which I find obscene. And V has waived that. He doesn't do that. What he says is, come and talk to me, and if I can help you, I'll help you. And that's when the clock starts ticking, which is a great saving, a great bonus, and sometimes you go away with much better knowledge, and it hasn't cost you a bean. So the brunch, the Saints brunch tomorrow at 10 o'clock. That's in the lounge at Clevedown, and you'll be there. And it's possibly I might come over and holler a few minutes to see how you are. And it's a good social event as well as helping you with some of those problems that you have with your computer.
absolutely. Yeah, so there'll be refreshments there. I'll be actually having support from some people that are going to come along and bring the food, which is going to be um, made uh, made and designed specifically for the residents, and the opportunities there for people to sit and chat. If they don't want a session, we can just have a FAQ, and just I could speak to everyone. Somebody could have a question in the audience, and I could speak to everyone at the same time, so everyone gets the knowledge and feels confident and on the same page. And yes, this is a community event. This is to get people out their homes to somewhere which is local, which is literally not. It's just walking distance from the home. So because sometimes not everyone can get to a shop or a business to get the support they need. So
Right.
I'm coming to you to help you in person and see if there's some way I can relieve your technology anxiety and give you a digital detox.
Well, tell me this. As a saint, when you touch people, do they go away with a glow?
Well, I wish. I mean, I could, maybe I should provide little LED torches as a gift to people who come.
Now, uh, would you would you like to just give your number to people that when you're not throwing parties and so on, that they are invited to give you a call, and you do have a number which you give out each week. So, would you like to repeat that number?
Absolutely. And I've done one step further. I've given the people the opportunity to book, request a home visit by filling out a simple basic form on my website. So that way, if people don't want to call me for whatever reason, because it's different time, different people wake up and sleep at different times, they can just fill out the request a visit at home form at their leisure, whatever time, and then I will get back to them. I will call them and schedule that home visit in. So the website address is www.technologysaints.co.uk. So that's technologysaints.co.uk. The request a home visit form is there. It's a very simple form. And then you can also see my number on the site. And my phone number is 07961 187 864. And if people call me on 07961 187 864, and if I don't answer for whatever reason, please do leave a voicemail with your name and the challenge you have and where you find my number so it can help me understand how I can serve more people. There we are.
Well, if you want to be touched by a saint, turn up tomorrow, or keep your eye open for when he may be holding a brunch somewhere in your area. Thank you, V. It's always good to see you, and I'll pop my head in tomorrow to see how things are going, and we wish you well.
Bless you. Thanks, Keith, and thank you, listeners and followers on this Mirador UK TV channel.
Silver